DICE have announced the release of a selection of downloadable content, with the first major instalment coming in March next year. With this you can expect to see not only new maps and guns but also brand new vehicles. This video is going to focus on a few of the vehicles that I think they could introduce, with some additional surprises on the way. Now of course I could go on forever about different vehicles that could be brought into the game and little cars and armoured trucks that they might bring in, so instead of that I'm going to focus on the tanks. These are the things that I'm most interested in, and of course if you have any historical knowledge of World War I, this can be quite an interesting subject. Although the First World War wasn't exactly filled with these machines, there were loads of interesting inventions that could be adapted in the game. One such vehicle is the Schneider CA1. There were several editions of this tank, with the prototype being developed in 1915. The vehicle itself got around on tracks and had a top speed of around 5 to 6 miles an hour, although in game we could expect it to be similar to the FT-17 light tank. The front of the CA1 had a piece of armour that allowed it to crush and cut through barbed wire, and lightly armoured plates on the flanks. This would mainly protect it from machine gun fire, but not really anything more high powered. Again, BF1 isn't exactly that realistic, so it doesn't really make too much difference to the game. The first bit of action that the CA1 saw was in April 1917, however the first outing was a complete disaster as it was flattened by German artillery and field guns on the rough terrain of the Nivelle offensive. This was not ideal. A few of them got stuck, as I said, most got flattened by artillery. The ones that did get through couldn't really do too much when they got through to where the Germans were. The four main variants had some nice looking camouflage as shown in the photographs on screen. This could be easily implemented in the game and added into the already popular Battle Pack system. Now for the interesting stuff, the weaponry. Well, the CA1, as you can probably tell from the pictures, didn't actually have a turret, and the only gun was mounted on the right side. It was a short 75mm howitzer cannon, which would not be very useful in the full game, but they could look at adding a few more guns on either side, linking it into the experimental side of World War I. As you know, with a lot of Battlefield 1 weaponry, they have gone onto the kind of experimental side of things where the weapons weren't really used in the actual war, they were more prototypes. This could be something we see with the CA1, as there were several editions that were being planned to be built but never actually were constructed. The next tank I want to take a quick look at is the Char Saint-Chamond. This one was built in parallel with the Schneider CA and looks like a complete monster. This type of tank was known as an armoured box. We've seen similar ones like the A7V in Battlefield 1 already. In all honesty, however, it never really achieved much apart from looking scary and making a lot of noise. The Chamond was equipped with a model 1897 Canon D75, essentially a field gun strapped to the front of it. There were also 4 additional machine guns, and the entire tank was protected with armour plating. Again, this tank was not really that effective, with the front being way too heavy, often leading it to dive nose first into the ground, rendering it stuck. A poor design, but again, DICE aren't looking to be accurate in the game. For me, this could be a great additional vehicle and would definitely spice up the armour that we have at the minute. I think it could possibly go head to head with the A7V Fridge. Same sort of setup, but of course this one would be slightly taller and look incredibly weird. Now for something that I definitely won't think will be included, but it's worth a laugh. The Russian Empire had a bit of trouble when designing tanks, and judging by this effort, as you can see on screen, they really scraped the bottom of the barrel with designers. The Tsar tank was not a combat tank in the traditional sense, as it relied on a tricycle wheel configuration that utilised 2 large main wheels set between them. During testing in 1915, it turned out that the thing was completely useless at getting over any sort of terrain, and the rear end was so heavy it would just sink into any sort of soft ground. I mean, you'd never have guessed that looking at the thing. It looks like a brilliant tank, but eventually it was scrapped, literally, and they used the metal to produce some other things, and that was the end of the Tsar tank. We didn't see it again, or any other variation of it, in the First World War. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and are as hyped as I am for the introduction of some new vehicles in Battlefield 1. Consider leaving a like on the video to help support the channel, and leave a comment down below with your choice for an additional tank. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode.